I've been a racer pretty much all my life. I started on motorcycles and my license in 1969. Then I had my first motorcycle, Kawasaki A7 Avenger, in 1970. And from that point on, I started doing drag racing. I did a little motocross racing and got a kind of the taste of the racing bug back in the early 1970s. And I continued doing racing off and on, doing road racing with the Kawasaki S2 out in Colorado. And I was very fast, but crashed very, very often. And lots of times I finished, but I was banged up and messed up and didn't know how to ride smoothly and efficiently. Then I started road racing again, and I was doing that in the 1980, late 1980s, and I actually did really well with that. It's me here, a little slimmer version. And it was a class that had probably 15 or 20 RZ 350s in it, and I really enjoyed doing the racing, the road racing. And I was pretty good. I usually finished, first, second, or third. Most of the guys at that time, I was about 40 years old, so most of the guys were in their 20s, and it was pretty easy to make them show them a wheel, make them nervous, and they'd run off the track and usually crash, and like I used to do in my 20s. Then I kind of curtailed my racing for a while, and after that I do occasionally do some drag racing, but then a friend of mine talked me into going out to Bonneville and doing some land speed racing. So I had a 2009 Thruxton. So I took my 2009 Thruxton and my buddy's 1999, I think, Thunderbird Sport, which I ended up buying from him. And we went with a stock Thruxton, you see here, with a little windscreen. We went 125.1 miles an hour. And really that was my intention, that was kind of a bucket list thing to do, It was a lot of fun. I got 123 on the Thunderbird Sport. We usually switch off rides, and I got 125.1 on that one. I was really surprised that the Thruxton was faster than the Thunderbird Sport till we figured out the little thing called aerodynamics in the Thunderbird Sport with a big butt radiator in front really didn't want to go fast. So I was done with that, and my buddy here talked me into going back again in 2013. Well, I wasn't going to go back with the same thing, so in 2013 I put this red fairing on, and I believe I had a cam and an exhaust system and airbox delete. So we really improved from 125.1 to 134 or something, 134 miles an hour, which was a big deal. 134.6 miles an hour, and I got to ride the yellow bike up there in the corner again, and I was a little faster than my friend because I was probably about 30 pounds lighter than he was. So but still couldn't go over 123 miles an hour. But we brought 3 riders out there that time, and we bought the third bike, which he had just bought, which is this Kawasaki ZX 1400. You can see right here. And one day he was sick, so I got to ride the Kawasaki. I only got one ride, and I got to ride on a short track, and I went 179.752 miles an hour. And to that point, that's about as fast as I had ever been. And I kept telling my wife, well, this is kind of the last time I'm gonna go. Well, that didn't. Once you get the salt in your blood, and you can see that it's a lot of fun out there. We get a team, and so in 2016 we went back again. This time I took 3 bikes back myself. Went to the Bub, what they call the Bub, It's called speed trials now. And so in 2016, I took my silver Thruxton R that you see there with the fairing on it. No, that's 2017. Sorry, 2016. Where is 2016? I think it's someplace else. We took in 2016. We just took the Thruxton R with no fairing. Oh, here it is over here. Sorry, I got so much stuff here. I kind of lose track of it. So we took in 2016. We took the Thruxton R, which we went stock gearing and everything, went 130.886. We took the red Thruxton back. By this time, this one had a big bore 904 kit in it, and it ran an outstanding 140.38 miles an hour. And I took a ZX 1400R, a 2013 model, which had been modified slightly to have 200 horsepower to rear wheel, and we did a best of 196.70 miles an hour. Here's a picture of me on the bike here. Made a mistake, wore a GoPro one time and liked to rip my head off, so I didn't do that anymore. The salt was really bad out there that year. We ran a lot of 190 in the mid 190s. You can see here, you can see the flags blowing over here, how much a lot of times the winds were running. So I ran 3 bikes out there that year, and I ran in, this is the FIM stuff and AMA stuff, so I ran this bike here about 8 times. I ran the 2 Thruxtons twice each. So that was a pretty busy deal. So I decided to go back in 2017. I did not want to, I sold a ZX 1400R because for me, it was better to be the master of 85 horsepower than it was to be the slave of 200 horsepower on a street, and it just wasn't functional for me to do. So we went back in 2017. That time I changed the gearing on the bike, and I put a fairing on. And we were able to run 136, 155. And no matter what kind of gearing I was running, what RPMs, it was just kind of like it was stalling out. So we figured it was either a combination of aerodynamics, but it felt like the bike had hit a certain RPM and it would just stop. When we asked Triumph about that, if it had a speed limiter, Triumph says no, it doesn't have a speed limiter. Later on, I found out it does not have a speed limiter, but the throttle bodies close when you're given 100% throttle and the higher RPMs, they close down about 20 or 30%. So we needed better aerodynamics and things like that. So I decided to go back in 2019 with a Thruxton R, with some more gearing. I got a Meerkat system on my bike, X-pipe and things, and X-pipe and reverse megaphones, and I put this fairing on from the red bike. So I put it on the one when we went back in 2019. Well, 2019 was a very bad year for the salt. It was slushy, wet. We only got to run twice in 5 days. I think, no, 3 times in 5 days. So during that time, we were able to run a best of 139 and some change, which corrected out to density altitude corrected out to about 149, but the true speed was what we clocked at, and the average speed was 139. So we decided, well, that's not really the best that the bike could do, because we run it out in the asphalt later on with a GPS with it, and it ran 145.8. So the salt was a big factor, and it just and still yet we pulled the ABS fuse on the bike so it would run a little bit better. So we actually improved 12 miles an hour after I pulled the ABS fuse, which for some reason let the bike seem to go ahead and run all the way up to about 7,500 RPM, which is what I needed. So Can't go back every year, but I'm going back in 2021, and I called Tech Bike. We got a whole Tech Bike, and they sent me a new cam. This is not it. This is the old cam. Well, we took out the old cam and put the Tech Bike 303 cam in the bike, and you can get that done at your dealer probably if you provide the cam for about $500 plus parts, labor and parts, putting in the cam. And it's well worth it because I'm not that mechanically inclined to do that. So we're going to take the bike back in 2021. And the other thing I wanted to get away from was throttle body. So I called Danielle, and I'll put a link to her website here to send me. She has a program that works in the ECU that you can download through Tune ECU via Bluetooth in the dongle, and we're going to put that in the bike. It's on this way to come here, so we're going to put that in the bike, which should keep the throttle bodies open. Let it run another 300-400 RPMs at the top end, and just give it better rideability and better fueling. But what I had to do there was I had a Power Commander 5 on the bike, and I took that off. And so I'm just waiting for that to come in. So we'll take the Power Commander 5 off so there's no confusion. The bike doesn't get confused by the two systems. So we're looking for that, maybe with a cam and good fueling, maybe another 7-8 horsepower. Get the gearing right on a good salt. It's possible that we could get 147, 148, maybe 150 if we got a good day. This fairing will come off here, and I'll put the other fairing back on to run out Bonneville, because I have to lower the clip-ons all the way down here, which makes it very uncomfortable to ride out in the street when you're 66 years old. So, but we'll do that, and we'll take it out. We'll get everything set up, and we've got some guys coming over to help team from Australia. I got one from Australia. Got one guy coming over from UK. He's going to be a second rider on the bike. We got from Florida and Los Angeles, and so should have a pretty good. I'll have a brand new team basically, except for one of the guys that normally goes out there with me will go, and we should have a good time running out there. So we're hoping to get best case one timed at 150. The worst case is probably timed at 145, and it's timing for there because when you're running out there, they time you for a mile. It's not just the top speed you hear, it's the average over the mile. In the meantime, once I get the cam broken in, I'm going to take about 500 miles to break this cam in. Once I get the software here, and once we get it broken in, then sometime March and April, I'm going to head back out to the drag strip and do some drag racing. I've raced this Thruxton 37 times. I keep track of all the launching, everything I've changed on sprocket-wise, filter-wise, fairing-wise, the whole deal, cats, non-cats, different X pipes, and how they run. So I think I got about the best combination on there now. Only thing I need to do is see if I can get this bike. The last time I was able to get it into I got it into 12.055 at 113, which corrected out to density altitude, corrected out to 11.7. I'm running at a drag strip. It's about 2,600 feet high, maybe 2,700, and got a lot of wind sometimes. But that's what we're doing. Out.